Right.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. This is Sippin' with Sammy. I am Mr. Flash, it only the one and only Sippin' with Sammy. Sam Malone, Barstool Rug. If you ain't sippin' with Sammy, you ain't sippin' right. Please get your fucking life together.
Damn, Sammy, you done fucked up.
Thanks, Sammy. Thanks, Sammy. Thanks, Sammy. Thanks, Sammy.
Yup! What's up with y'all, man? Happy Monday, happy hour, happy, what is this, President's Day or something like that?
Yep.
Happy holidays, man. We in a situation, we situated. We went a little early because we had a day off, and sitting around all evening waiting to go live is a little weird. So since we had the time, we made the time earlier. So shout out to everybody that's tapping in already. Salute to y'all. Hopefully y'all had a fly 3-day weekend. If you didn't, hopefully you made some real paper because you didn't. You know what I'm saying? We with you. We with you. Actually, for me, myself, I was excited to have a day off, but I wouldn't have minded working because I'd have made a killing. But it's cool to be off and just appreciate the days off because there will be days where it's not up to me. So it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But I do have Kay from Font Productions in the situation with me. How you feeling, Kay?
I'm alright. I have the hiccups right now.
Yeah, the hiccups, so I'll talk a little longer, let you get your life together.
I'm trying real hard.
Yeah, try real hard. Sip some of that beer or something. Do something.
Oh, like that's gonna help.
I know. Well, you know, it might make you belch. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Where y'all from? Where y'all at? Y'all sipping? Y'all twisted? What y'all got going on, man? Tis happy hour. We do have a good show for y'all today. We got some hot topics, some dope stuff to talk about. The list isn't that long because we in Philly and everything been about Eagles at a parade. So I worked during the parade, but I watched the whole thing. Ironically, I missed about a half hour of it because I had to get to work. So maybe about 45 minutes I missed of the parade. But it looked like a lot of people enjoyed themselves. It looked like the Eagles took full advantage of their parade this time. Last time that they won, certain players cut out and ran crazy. This year it looked like damn near everybody was doing them on the parade stage. So that's where you want to start at?
Yeah, might as well.
Let's do it. Introduce it for the people, man. You got the helmet behind you.
I
you
do.
Know what I'm saying?
Go Birds. So the Eagles, of course, won the Super Bowl. And we had to celebrate the way that Philadelphians do with a big old parade. As you can see from the graphic on the screen, there were a ton of folks in attendance. Philadelphia, we'd like to show out for our sports teams, and especially the Eagles after they win a big game like this. So you can see there were tons of folks that came to Philadelphia just for this parade. I don't have any estimates of attendance yet, but you can see from the picture, and this is just in one area, the parade was throughout the entire city, and it looked like this throughout the whole route. So it was crazy out there. But yeah, so the parade mostly consisted of the players on the buses saying hi, getting beers thrown at them, coming down off the bus to say hi to the people, and overall just having a great day. By the time it got to the speeches, all the players were definitely wasted. So you didn't get any like long, heartfelt speeches. You got a lot of like, all right, let's do it again. This was great. Thanks, Philly. Short and sweet. And I loved it.
A lot of cursing.
A lot of cursing. I loved it. I thought it was great. What do you think overall of the parade?
I thought, and you know, before I went, because I did have to work that night if y'all missed it, that day. I was watching it and I was trying to catch all the major networks coverage because I knew they would all be at different angles and parade routes and have, exclusive footage, even though they might be a block away from each other or half a block. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed that because it felt like I was catching a lot of different angles of the Broad Street aspect of it, right?
Okay.
And I also was elated because I knew they was going to be running late to get to the art museum. I knew it. They had to be like an hour behind at one time, and they made up time at one point. I think they wound up like a half hour late. But that was
to be on the route part where they were making up time though.
Yeah. So that was cool, and then I got in traffic after I seen the Broad Street piece. So I had to take the long way to work, which is actually around the Parkway. The way that they took me. So I rode under the parade at one point. I was riding under the underpasses, and there was people all over the overpass just having a ball. You could just see them. People was blowing the horns to them. I blew the horn, I think. Yeah, I was blowing the horn. So then get to the gig, I get settled, and it's on the TV. So I got to watch it all the way up until the speeches.
Okay.
And right when they were introducing, like I saw Sherelle Parker's speech, and I think that's when everybody kind of tapped out and the channel got changed.
Gotcha.
So I didn't get to see any of the speeches in real time, but I saw in hindsight that the Eagles players looked like they had a ball up there.
They looked like they were having a great time.
Jalen Hurts did a whole fucking parade that said 25 words, even in the speech, including the speech.
Yep.
He's amazing.
Yep.
I think he's AI.
I really like that about him. If I'm being honest, like I really enjoy the fact that he does not say a ton.
Hiccups going?
Yes, I'm good now.
One thing, because people, had a lot of expectations about travel. I do know some people that made their way out to get there and never made it there. I know a lot of people that made it there and it looked like they was part of the Eagles team as close as some of them got. So there was all type of experiences. As far as traffic, it added another 15 minutes to my route. Okay. I believe.
That's not as bad as you would think.
No, I thought I was going to leave an hour early.
Yeah.
It added my route to work with no traffic is about 18 minutes. With traffic is anywhere from 22 to 30. I think I got there in 40 minutes.
Okay.
So about 15, I guess, would be how to prefer it. So as far as the streets, like the cops was doing what they supposed to do around the event to make sure that we still had routes we could travel. I did use the GPS because it gives you the best traffic route on my phone. So I was good with that. But I think overall it looked like exactly what I expected, man. Let the Eagles win so the city could be happy for a little bit and have a parade. And it's been a joy going to work with a bunch of Eagles fans that's every 5 minutes saying, we champions. We champions.
You got to know they're happy. So.
Oh, my God. And you know where I work at.
Yep.
9 Eagles fans in that building is 1.5%.
Right.
I mean, everybody is a bunch of people probably faking Eagles fans in there. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, once again, let's do this. You mentioned beer throwing.
Yes. Sure did.
I saw quite a few great catches. Fantastic catches. It's like, oh, this is why you a pro. And there's some professional fans out there. I see some people standing on top of crazy shit, catching beers. It was crazy. It was amazing. Had a great time watching it. Because I love to watch beers get thrown and immediately chug thereafter. I have never just opened a shaken beer on purpose. That's amazing. But I saw Howie Roseman had a beer-shaped imprint of blood on his forehead.
Yes.
You saw that?
Yes.
Yo. No one was safe.
Not at all.
And the crazy thing is, didn't seem to bother him at all.
Nope.
He didn't care. He like, come with the territory. I got another Billy coming. We good. That was crazy, right?
That shit was funny.
What's your favorite highlights from the highlights, though? A low light was the fight I saw between the group of women with the man in the middle with the baby. I hated to see that.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was horrible.
That was bad. To me, one of the highlights was just Jalen Hurts looking unbothered with a cigar in his mouth and the, like, black beret.
Like the most interesting man in the world, right?
Who are you? Why? with his own shirt on that says "Love Hurts."
Yeah, well, you know he had to wear the Jordan brand, so
Which
why
I
not?
love that, but
And shout out to Jordan brand. They did a lot.
he was just chilling the entire parade. I loved it.
Who was my man that had the fur on? That he was gifted.
Was it Sweat?
I'm thinking it was.
I think it was Sweat.
Him and everybody that was walking with him was having a ball.
Yes, that was the D line was just
They were having
excited.
a ball, yo. And then I seen one of them grab a Henny bottle and chug that shit and toss it back and then grab a Jello shot.
Or when they were riding in the back of the pickup truck.
Oh, yeah.
And just like hopping on.
You saw when a lineman jumped on?
Yes.
Yo, I saw that live.
Oh my God.
I was like, yo, that's crazy.
Shout out to the chat. We got Virat Army. He said hello.
Yo.
Then we have Noah King. He said, what's up?
What's good, Noah? Yeah, man, we just catching up on the highlights in the parade because, you know, Philly did a lot. I did see a video where it looked like a Chiefs fan, a guy with a Chiefs jersey was getting beat up. But then when he walked away, he pulled it off and had an Eagles jersey on. I don't know what kind of prank he was running. But that's dangerous.
Very dangerous. I would not be there with a Chiefs jersey.
At the parade, bro?
God, no.
You see what happened with the homie that was trying to get home after the Super Bowl? Yo, don't do that.
I feel like the Chiefs bar probably hasn't been open since before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yo, and that's crazy. Shout out to Twin. But, like, he beat on it. And I saw that they was closed for fear of...
Yeah, they didn't open for the Super Bowl at all.
At all.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of smart.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even think about that because it'd be like, well, you know, that's where they go to do their thing. But we crazy. So you got to consider that. That's
Noah King
sad.
said that was Saquon Barkley. Yes, it was Saquon Barkley's fur.
No, it was Saquon that was drinking the Henny. That's what he talking about. And he took the Jello shot. And then got up there and was slurring.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that went in succession on the reel I saw. Thanks, Noah. Appreciate you. Yeah. Yo, but overall, great day. I don't know how many people were arrested. I know 2 women got shot over some stuff you just don't do. So prayers for them. Hopefully, I don't know, man, because I don't know if they was I know there was a woman directly involved in what started the altercation.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if she was one of the ones that got hit. But that shit is just crazy. But I heard they did arrest someone for it. So, yeah. Other than that, all good things. A lot of good memories. A lot of people smiling and running around telling stories. I think that's what you want out of a parade. Can't ask for nothing more out of that, right?
Yeah.
No, that's fire, though. Congratulations again to the Birds and the Birds fans.
Go Birds.
Run it back, yo.
Yeah, we got a dynasty brewing. Y'all just don't know it yet.
Run it back, because what happens is when you win the bowl or any championship, you got bragging rights till the next one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all ain't been in a position to be, like, dominant to where you could just talk shit for, like, years. Like, y'all can't say shit. We back-to-back. You know what I mean? Go ahead and do that one time for the city, man. I bet you the crime rate would shrink.
I bet you right.
I bet you
are so right.
I mean,
oh my God.
We'll be talking about wire numbers. Like, can we prove this? Real rap. What'd he say?
He says Saquon was born in Philly. That's why he come home.
I heard that. I mean, listen, man. Philly loves Saquon, and Saquon seems to love his new job.
Saquon went to high school, actually, at one of my rival high schools, Whitehall. He was born in Lehigh Valley.
So he's from the area like Kobe.
But he went to Penn State, too.
Yeah, he did go to Penn State. I saw that.
He got a lot of PA, a lot of Philly in him, so I respect it. Big fan. All right. You ready to move on?
I mean, if you are, I ain't want to rush through your parade, so you let me know.
No, we can move on.
All right, let's
I've
do it.
celebrated my Eagles for another week, so probably going to continue to wear bird stuff for one more week, and then I'll close the closet on it.
You got more bird stuff coming, so.
Exactly. That's why I got to wear it for another week. All right. Let's move on to Allstar Weekend. Why not, right?
You need to leave.
Okay, so let's start with Friday. Noah said I might have to get me a Saquon Barkley jersey, as you should.
Yeah, grab one of them pups. She just grabbed the Hertz joint with the, with the patch on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this weekend was NBA Allstar Weekend, and the festivities kicked off with Friday being the Celebrity All-Star Game. What do you think of the All-Star Game? The Celebrity Game, I'm sorry.
I think that the flag football game did a way better job of picking celebrities for the event than this game did, which is sad.
Agreed.
I think a lot of the people that were on there, nobody knew who they were. And I know that I'm in a certain demo, so there might be a demo for those people. But even like as far as when you watch celebrities interact with each other, nobody knew who they was, yo.
I feel like they decided to pick all of the celebrities, and I'm using the word celebrity loosely. I feel like they tried to pick people who are actually good at basketball. So they had WNBA players, which that part I was cool with.
Yeah, I
liked that.
Yeah, I was cool with that.
They had the Olympic high jumpers, which that I enjoyed too, because you get to see them do some crazy dunks or try to.
But nobody knows them.
But nobody knows them. Cool, that's fine. But then you gotta put in people that people know. Like, you gotta put in the rappers, you gotta put in the comedians, you gotta put in the internet celebrities, like all of them, but the A-list ones.
Well, see, they thought that running Kai versus Drewski was enough.
It wasn't.
Kai isn't good at basketball.
Right.
And Drewski is somehow, he's like surprisingly athletic, but he never does anything long term.
Right.
So you wind up just watching a very dark broadcast and trying to guess who's scoring.
Exactly.
And that's what it felt like watching it. And I didn't have the biggest of TVs because, once again, I was at the work. So I'm like, why is it so dark?
It was so dark.
Did that bother you?
It bothered me so much. It was to the point where it was almost unwatchable because I couldn't tell who anybody was.
It looked like Lockdown with a spotlight roaming over it.
It was weird.
It was like the court was dark, but then you would see these white lights like just circling over the court. I'm like, what are they trying to... did they test this?
And some of the gimmicks that they had last year with, like, the moving circles that you had to shoot from and things like that, those things I actually enjoyed. So those were gone, but they just had crunch time, like Ruffles crunch time, where points counted as, double or something?
They put in a mascot for defense at one point, yo.
Yeah, that was weird. And he
got
in the way.
Like, he got on
help.
gloves.
He did not help.
He has on gloves.
Yeah, it was just weird.
It was a real shit show. I seen there was the time what's the name hit the button, and that was a thing, and then there was another thing that they did. The gimmicks were strange. The gimmicks were very, very strange, and I think if anybody was really serious about playing, it frustrated them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, now what? I gotta sit down for the mascot. Yeah. I didn't get it at all. I didn't like it. Nope, not at all.
Nope.
Not at all.
So,
I didn't have a good... And I didn't even realize the dude that won MVP was getting busy. He had 25 points. I thought he might have had 12.
I saw him get a few good shots.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't realize... Like, there was so much that was lost about the actual game itself. Because they did play good basketball. Don't get me wrong.
Kyle wound up on his head for some reason, but go ahead.
That's not what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see them play good basketball. Like, yes, I wanted to see the high jumper get his one little dunk. Cool. Other than that, I wanted to see ridiculousness. I wanted to see jokes. I wanted to see passes between the legs. I wanted to see women breaking nails. Like, dumb stuff. That is what a celebrity game is supposed to be. It's supposed to be all the dumb stuff. It's supposed to look like a gym class.
That's why Kevin Hart, all them years with him, was always so legendary. Because he always made it entertaining.
And then this year they did have Kevin Hart involved, and of course I get it. Kevin Hart probably won't play in the All-Star game anymore or the celebrity game anymore. He's probably like, I'm beyond that.
Yeah, he just tore his whole what's the name trying to race somebody in the middle of the street, his whole torso up.
Right. So I get it, but there's other young comedians that you could have put in there that would have done more. And Drewski and Kai are great. I want them to be a part of it, but they cannot be the only folks.
Jesser was there. Nobody knows who Jesser is.
Yeah.
If you don't watch YouTube basketball, you don't know who Jesser is. And Jesser can hoop, but Jesser was there, and that was like random. It's like what balances out Jesser? Like you ain't give a Cash Nasty. Like I don't know. Like
I think it would be more fitting to put together a YouTube hoops team to compete in like the Rising Stars tournament.
I think
that'd be cool. But like for the celebrity,
I think anything celebrity athletic should have Duke Dennis in it. Duke can hoop, play football. Nigga can do gymnastics and flips and shit. Like just put him in anything celebrity related, yo.
I mean that's fine, but I still don't think that like
Terrell Owens was in it. He's 50 years old.
Yeah, like, I don't think that it's more athletes that are going to save this game. I think that it's...
Personality-based?
Personality-based.
Like Rock and Jock?
Yes. You need to bring the cool, the crazy factor, the funny factor.
I'm with that. I'm not against that, but, like, it's sad that the celebrity game is just as bad as the All-Star game has become, and it wasn't like that a year or two ago. It's like, this is new. Like, why did they drop the ball on this year?
Noah King said they should have had Duke Dennis and Chris Brown. I wouldn't be mad at that. That'd be good.
Always Chris Brown. Always Quavo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Elite Chopper, a little controversial, but he's an athlete. Mm-hmm. A hell of a ball player. Gillie. Mm-hmm. Why wasn't Gillie there? Why y'all never put Gillie in the joint? What do y'all got against Gillie? He running around hooping with everybody.
Gillie would be a great person to have.
Gillie would get 3 MVPs in a row, and y'all have a hell of a fucking weekend talking about him breaking Kevin Hart record.
Yep.
Like, it could be a thing.
So, let's move on from the celebrity game and talk about the skills competition, which, to me, the skills portion was probably the highlight of the All-Star Weekend for me, and has been for the last couple of years. So, there was the team skills, like the passing, John. There was the 3-point competition, and then there was the slam dunk competition. Right? I didn't miss any, right? So, there was some controversy in the team skills competition. Sam, what happened?
So, Chris Paul and Wembanyama decided that they were going to, I guess, exploit a loophole and got themselves disqualified from the competition. So what they did was they went up to all the racks and just threw all the balls and pretended to shoot them just to make sure that they could get the fastest time, and figuring that the points that they would miss out on, they would compensate for it in time. They quickly found out that disqualified them from the competition, and if you watch the footage that they showed after, you could see that Chris kind of sold Wemby on it, which is crazy because he's the president of the NBA committee. Like, come on, bro, don't cheat the game. And then you see them explaining to them why they are disqualified. So that's how the event started, because I believe they were the first team in contention, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so then we had a pretty good competition after that, a pretty fun competition. What's funny about the skills competition is by the time the last person is going, you already know whether they won or lost when they hit certain points at a certain speed.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes impossible that you're going to be faster than that guy under 30 seconds.
Yep.
But that was fun. I had a good time watching that. That was interesting. That really hasn't really fell off. But that's a niche thing. That's like you gotta appreciate it or you don't.
Right.
But I mean, anything competitive, when we talking about, you gotta do the same thing with the same ball that I gotta do, with a skill set that we both supposed to have, and we try and beat each other's time. That always interests me. Always.
So,
always.
The Cavs did end up winning that one.
Yeah, the Cavs won. Mobley was balling out there.
Absolutely.
Mobley went crazy out there. He was with my boy.
And then after the team skills, we went on to the 3-point competition.
Yep.
So 3-point came down to Tyler Hero and Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield scored 31 in his first round, which tied Steph Curry for the highest first round, or highest score ever.
Who called it?
You did.
I said it. I said, yo, Buddy's about to have a great 3-point contest. As soon as he stood up, and that boy went for 31, man. Now, I'm not saying I called 31 because God, but I'm like, he's going to the finals convincingly is what I had in my head when I said that. But go ahead.
So ultimately, Tyler Hero did end up beating him in the final round. And Tyler Hero became the winner.
Shout out to Tyler Hero.
Shout out to Tyler.
I love Tyler Hero's game, man.
Yeah.
Well deserved. One thing I also called was that he ain't going to do that 31 in the second round, so I don't know how this is about to go. And Tyler did what I thought he was going to do.
Yep. So now moving on to the slam dunk competition. The slam dunk competition this year featured... Do you have all of them in front of you?
I don't. You want me to look them up?
I can do it probably quicker.
Okay.
You go ahead. You talk.
Yeah, slam dunk competition, a lot of anticipation, always very controversial because year after year after year there are no superstars in the slam dunk competition. And even with this year, being as though a couple of the athletes in the competition were notable, which stood out to me was that the list of people in the competition was already short to begin with. And then Mac McClung, who was the returning 2-time champion, was back on it again and was probably the most notable name on the list. So it gets to a point where people are debating ahead of time whether they are even interested in the dunk contest this year or not.
Right.
Me, I'm always interested in the dunk contest. I consider myself a high flyer at one point.
It was Stephon Castle and Andre Jackson Jr.
And Matas Busele.
And Mutas Buseles.
And like I said, I'm always interested in the dunk contest.
Mm-hmm.
So I was tapped in. I'm ready to watch something. I don't know, because one thing that I've realized over the years, even though the names haven't been in the contest, we always get one of these kids or a Mac McClung. But for years before him, we get one of these kids that I might not know much about, and he wants to win so bad that he does something I've never seen before. Maybe 2 or 3 things I've never seen before, right?
Uh-huh.
Like we saw the kid blow the candle out on the back of the room before he dunked it, right?
Yep.
Like, I ain't never even... Who the fuck thought about putting a cupcake on the rim? You know? So, like, I appreciate stuff like that. So, I was excited about the dunk contest this year, but go ahead. Now that you got the list together and we back, you go ahead.
No, so I think overall, Mac McClung came into this with a plan, and he wanted that three-peat. So he pulled out all the stops. His first dunk was, as you can see from the photo, him jumping over a Kia car. And
he almost died doing that dunk.
Yes, his foot hit the windshield a little bit. He had to recuperate his landing, but overall, he made the dunk, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was incredible to watch. And then his second dunk, again, a masterpiece. And his third. So all in all, he scored straight 50s throughout the entire competition. And just ended up taking home the trophy, which I thought was well-deserved. It was probably one of the most exciting slam dunk competitions that we've seen in some years. But what do you think about it overall?
Overall, I thought it was dope, and I thought that there was some creative dunks outside of his dunk. Getting the oop through the net and dunking that shit was crazy. I never thought about nothing like that before neither, right? I didn't think that was possible. But Mac I think, put on arguably one of the best shows we've ever seen, if not the best show we've ever seen in slam dunk history. When you equate his size, the magnitude of the dunks he did, the difficulty of the dunks he did, like there's certain dunks that to an average fan is like, oh well, he just, like, say the car for instance, right? You'll say, well, he's not the first person that jumped over a car. But then when you take all the other dynamics into it and the fact that he dunked it backwards and actually hit his foot on the car before he dunked it, it's like, no, that's kind of amazing, yo. Like, that's not even supposed to happen. And he did all his dunks on the first try.
Or that touch the rim and then dunk it.
Yeah.
Like, to an average player who's never tried to dunk before, like, that seems, okay, cool.
Well, he was already there.
But
like,
you couldn't even see it until you did the replay.
Like, this stuff is stuff that people, some of it people have tried before. Some superior athletes have pulled some of this stuff off. But a Mac McClung from the G League, a white boy that's as tall as me, it's crazy to see.
Right.
And then the creativity level, because once you've won twice, and this is your third time, you would think you're running out of dunks.
Yeah.
And he started with 3 phenomenal dunks and still had a finals to go through.
Yep.
And it's like, well, how do you get better than those 3? And he kept turning up. It's like, it's crazy. He might be the best, even if you don't give him this one, if you add up all 3, he might go down as the GOAT in the dunk contest.
He might.
That's crazy.
He might.
How many did Mike win? How many did Dominique win? I don't even think they did that many.
Noah said that was Jeff Green, and then he said jumping over Joel Embiid.
Yeah. That was crazy.
I forgot he did that.
That was crazy. Jeff Green was the blow out the candle. Appreciate you. But like, yeah, like, man, shout out to him. He put on the show. I was entertained. Like I said, his competition wasn't sweet. There was people missing dunks, and that happens. But
they had some creative ideas as well.
Yeah,
and some good scores.
People was putting some stuff down that was like, wow. But every time Mac went, you got that feeling again, like when you see the greats do the dunk contest in the past, where you like, who gonna hate on him and give him a 9?
Right.
And he just kept getting 50s, and it's like, oh, all right, y'all better not play today, because he was acting crazy out there.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was phenomenal, man. And like I say, the best dunk contest is always the one that they keep showing with Vince. And but my problem with the way that they portray it is that Vince dominated that thing at such a high level, and no, that shit was neck and neck with him, T-Mac, and a 6'3" Steve franchise. And Stevie was keeping up, and it was getting crazy. T-Mac was going nuts. It was getting crazy in there. So overall, that was the best dunk contest I've ever seen. But as far as a single performance, Mac is arguably top 3, and then he has 3 of them in a row, which makes him like, damn, we really got to have that conversation. We're going to pull them stats up. We got to have that conversation. Because I don't want to misspeak because I wasn't around when it started, but who the fuck won 3 in a row?
Noah said Dominique Wilkins won 1 dunk contest and Michael Jordan won 2.
That's what I thought. But I didn't want to misspeak. I appreciate that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, this is scary. I don't think anybody realized what this little motherfucker is doing, that he can't get an NBA contract.
Crazy.
Let me find out he don't know how to make a layup. Like, what am I missing?
So now we get to the actual All-Star games itself. And remember, they did a tournament style this year where they had the winner of the Rising Stars tournament team against the Shaq's team, which ended up being like the OGs. And then you had the Kenny's Young Squad versus the Chuck's International team as the 2 first games, the semis. And
which doesn't seem fair from the gate.
Right.
Because how do one of y'all get the fucking young boys first?
Right.
Right. Well, go ahead.
Exactly. And of course it goes to the OGs.
Mm-hmm.
So, no surprise, the OGs won.
It was a good game.
It was a good game. It was much more competitive than I think people thought. And then the On the other hand, the international team ended up beating the Rising Stars. So then the final game was Shaq's OGs versus the international team, and Shaq's OGs won. Overall, I would say that this year we saw defense being played. We saw some block shots. We saw, some defense. But still, this format kind of just made it even more boring, in my opinion. It felt even more drawn out. And I know that there was the 40-point limit, but I feel like that also meant that, like, we didn't get to see a lot of the fun stuff until kind of the last 10 points of the game. Like the alley-oops and the crazy, like, I'm just going to go for this crazy shot type of stuff. Like Steph shooting from the logo, those types of things. So overall, to me, this All-Star game kind of really missed the mark. I did not find it super enjoyable. And, like, I understand that the format was better in terms of you could see all of the players who were playing get a decent amount of playing time. But, yeah, it didn't do it for me. What's your take on it?
I think that one thing we did see, first of all, Steph is the scariest motherfucker I ever seen in my life with a basketball in his hand.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't make any sense that every time the stage is lit, he's pulling difficult shots for no reason and hitting them.
Best shooter ever.
It is ridiculous what Steph does. But outside of Steph, because main part of the story that you skipped was last minute LeBron ducked out.
Yes.
And a lot of people, Shannon was mad at him for that. He was mad, one, that he didn't play, and two, because of how the timing of it.
Yeah, like you could have pulled out earlier and given somebody else the chance.
Yeah, the logistics of it, he didn't like at all. He went off last night. But also, there's a couple young motherfuckers that showed their ass.
Yeah.
And they were playing against the best.
Yeah.
And you could see they were head and shoulders above the best. And I'm talking about Shea, and I'm talking about Wemby, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it was certain people that was like, oh no. Like, Wemby, I've heard the mic'd up moments behind the scenes where Giannis is telling Wemby, like, bro, you're never gonna not start anywhere in your life. Do you understand that? And then he's telling the referee, like, no, he wasn't telling the referee. He was telling a former player. He's telling Chuck. He said, bro, you've never guarded nothing like this in your life. You've never guarded nothing like him. Don't play like he's different. Like K.
It's true.
And when Wemby was acting up, man.
Yeah, he was tough. He was tough.
Nobody could do anything in the paint if he could see him.
Yep.
And then he's pulling. Oh my God, man, that is amazing. And he got a little brother that's tough too. That's what people ain't talking about yet. His little brother coming up too. It's another Wembenyama that's a monster, and he tall as shit. Yeah, he ain't Wemby tall yet, but he getting there young. Yeah, so I did see that. That stood out to me. But yeah, overall, as a weekend or even as this format, nah. Did you realize or did you pick up on when they said that Steph was a part of creating this format that Draymond hates so much?
Really?
Yeah, because you saw Draymond kept speaking to the fact that he hated it. He hates the fact that the up-and-coming rising stars get to be a part of Sunday night in the first place.
Yeah.
And he thinks that they should have kept it how it is. A lot of the backlash came where a lot of people were saying, which is true, that he's acting like that's somebody else's fault besides the players.
Right.
That they're trying things, right? Whether he appreciates them or not. And this was before the game. And after the game, he still kept the same sentiment. But they even asked Steph about it after the game. But Steph was in on this format. This was his idea, is what they're saying. What you think about that?
Interesting.
Is all you got?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the Rising Stars being a part of the situation. I didn't mind it being a tournament necessarily. I just needed it to be more exciting or different. Like, I understand that you don't want athletes to get hurt during All-Star games. Nobody does. But to me, the answer isn't, like, trying to get them to play more defense and, like, to make the game exciting. That's not the answer. It's, like, let them do the crazy trick shots and, like, add gimmicks that make more sense than what they do. So, I just didn't feel like the format was a hit.
And one thing that I've noticed, and it feels like it's been all season, things that they went hard at last year, like the in-season tournament, they did watered down versions of this year.
Yep.
Like even earlier when you was talking about the hot spots that was on the court and all that virtual stuff they was doing.
Yep.
And then this year was turn the lights down low, and then like it was like,
yeah, it was like halfway. Everything felt halfway.
It's like the network contracts got bigger. Why is the production value going down?
Yeah.
Why do we not put as much into the, like, all the courts look the same in the in-season tournament? They were just different colors.
Like, I like the idea of the NBA All-Star game having roving hotspots and, like, getting extra points for those hotspots. I think that's a new way to challenge the players that's fun and could be fun to watch.
Yeah, that takes a little bit of the pressure off it, but still put some competitive on it, because I could pull this 7-pointer, and it was a different game now.
Right.
No, I get it. And the crazy thing is, a lot of that is rock and jock shit. Like, if you watch the early rock and jocks, they had courts over top of the courts that was worth more points. They had spots on the courts that was worth more points. I believe they tried to do it in the Big Three also. That was a part of the Big Three. Like, that has proven over time to actually be an exciting part of games when you have celebrities involved.
Yeah.
Is basically what I'm saying.
I also think it would be cool to see different types of games played. Like, what if it was like all the All-Stars played knockout? Like, I think that would be fun to watch.
You want them to start playing horse.
No, knockout.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, now we're at the level of watching All-Stars play pig. Because what's the difference between knockout? They're standing. Where they going to stand? Half court? Everybody can make it from the top of the key.
Yeah, they definitely got to stand at half court. It's got to be a logo shot to start it out. Are you kidding?
Yeah, that's messy. That's ugly. That's ugly.
But
ugly. We shouldn't have to play backyard games at the All-Star Weekend.
Or even do a one-on-one tournament. Something.
There's certain players that are open to that. Actually. That's been brought about. Did you see the players that reacted like Ja and them that said that Mac got them wanting to do the dunk contest?
I did see that. And good.
Giannis was on there, but then Giannis said his page was hacked the next day. But
oh, of course.
Yeah, but Giannis is a jokester, so.
Yeah. Giannis's face during the dunk contest was funny.
Hilarious.
Oh my God.
One other thing I noticed from the weekend, there's 2 baby Antetokounmpos on their way.
Look just like him.
They both look like they tall for their age, and one of them is only 3 inches taller than the other one. And I'm feeling like we about to see a repeat. He already got, I think those both his sons, so an uncle and a dad in the NBA.
Yep.
And they might both be the same way. That is crazy. I'm looking at them with their basketballs and they asking certain questions. And it was one clip when on a mic'd up joint where he's telling them like, no, you stand here. And then the coach tells you what you do. And then you go out there and you execute. And I'm like, why are you talking to them like they about to play? Like, they know they got to sit down, right? Your kids be done ran on the court, bro. You hyping them up. But I love to see that because, like, it's like the military, like the NBA professional sports. Like, when you around it at the young age, you already get it.
Right.
Now it's your job to physically be able to attain it. You see what I'm saying? You know all of the behind the curtain shit.
Noah King said, Ja said he was in, and so did Zach LaVine.
Yeah, and Zach said it. And Zach is a goodie. So I don't know. We'll see what happens next year. I think the dunk contest could be saved. I think they have no idea how to save the All-Star game.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's what it comes down to. I think that there is new energy coming into the league every year. That mentality of I don't want to risk it or I don't want to whatever that stars are doing in the NBA for the last handful of years, I think we'll get a generation that breaks that. I think that sometimes we're not optimistic about the fact that the next group sometimes goes completely against the grain and wears parachute pants again. You know?
Right.
So, we'll see.
All right. Well, let's take a break from sports and talk about Drake. You can go ahead and introduce this.
Oh, my bad. So Drake and Party Next Door released a project that was supposed to be a Party Next Door project featuring Drake that seems more like a Drake project with some Party Next Door sauce on it. Because you don't hear Party Next Door as much as you hear Drake, and the vibes are kind of in the middle, but not so much in the middle is what I'm hearing. But what is going viral is the fact that as soon as Drake gets an opportunity to spit, as they say, he starts throwing shots. So Ebro catches a shot. You big up Melissa Ford by throwing a shot at Joe Budden and calling him a D swabber, which was kind of crazy. You also have a part where you sing about They Not Like Us, which sounds kind of creepy. I just don't understand who is advising. Like, I think the lack of A&Rs in the industry even affect the big boy sometimes. What they call him, the boy? I guess the boy even needs an A&R because everything I've heard sounds suspect and corny. And then what makes it even weirder is I listen to Joe Budden and I'm excited because I'm like, I know Joe gonna go off on this motherfucker. He just called you a dick sucker sitting next to a six legend and Melissa Ford. And Joe didn't go off. Melissa act like she ain't know what was going on the whole time. And then ever since then, Melissa done pinned the song in her bio and is making videos of her walking around in a bikini on the beach with the song playing like, yeah, what he said, ... Like, I really don't understand. This is a weird space for so many reasons. One, you still bringing up the thing. I don't know if that's to increase streams, but you have to make it hot, bro. And sometimes less is more. Sometimes you got to be a little more subtle. You're doing blatant things that just sound corny. And then to see somebody that's on one of the biggest podcasts in the world that has an opportunity to display whatever her sentiment about it is, not say damn near anything about it and pretend that she hadn't even heard it because she had to rush to work that day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then make her whole entire weekend thus after. If I'm Joe, I'm sick. Like, I'm expecting to listen to the next podcast and them, especially him, grind her the fuck up, yo. Because I don't understand how you do that. Like, you just made a whole campaign off him calling you a legend, and she is a legend. She is. Melissa Ford's a legend. Never let nobody make you think anything different. I don't care how young you are. Melissa Ford is a legend. But sometimes you can see how this legend, as beautiful and powerful as she might have been at one time, is very gullible and very strange.
Yep.
And I don't like it. I don't like you constantly conveniently lying on a platform where you can be fact checked. And then when you have real things to say, not saying it. And then you're not even saving it for your platform. You're saving it for Instagram. And then it ain't even you catching a vibe to it. It's you running around on a beach to a song you was not listening to when you took that video. Like, are you just trying to get traction? Like, what are you doing? You could have did both. But instead, you didn't hear it. And now that you heard it, it's what he said. So if it's what he said, that mean that you sit next to a dick sucker?
Definitely looks weird.
I just want to know.
Definitely looks weird.
It's very strange.
But we've been getting inklings that Melissa Ford ain't too happy over there recently, so.
Because she can't be the Melissa Ford over there that she wants to be because there's somebody to call it.
Yep.
And multiple somebodies. And I'm sure in her head, if she wasn't the only female, it would be different. But we've seen instances on when they've had multiple females up there and the other females did not agree with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she winds up trying to find a happy medium and settle on something she doesn't agree with. So it's like, yeah, it's bigger than she thinks. And she'll see. She'll see. But she's a hell of a personality and she'll find her niche. But she has to at some point be real and stop trying to create this fairy tale that just don't add up. It don't add up. Because when you being real, you say things like, I had times when I survived for 6 months off of $10,000. And for you, that sounds like a hell of a struggle. But then the other part of that is when they have to say, well, what was you eating? And you have to find a cool way to say that you did a lot of dating for meals.
Yep. All right. That's enough about Melissa Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Was that all for this topic?
I just want Drake to grow the fuck up, figure out another way to sneak this, figure out something else to do, because everything he's done in retaliation since the pendulum has leaned in Kendrick's way has made Kendrick look righter and righter and righter and righter, and actually solidified the reason that I never was a big Drake fan in the first place, because all of the things I thought about him is true. He's a sucker.
All right. Now, moving on. Gillie recently appeared on Club Shay Shay. And great interview. Gillie talked about a lot of different things. But one of the things that he spoke on was the murder of his son and the, I don't even know if you can still say alleged killer, who is Joker.
With some initials behind it or something like that.
Joker OTC or something like that.
I don't mean no disrespect, but it's weird. Just this whole situation, it makes me not even figure out, like, to try to remember what the initials was type shit. All right, but Joker OTC?
Sure, we'll go with it.
All right, so I watched the Shannon interview with Gil. There was a short period right before this where they was talking about what happened to his son. And Gil broke down the fact that him and his son weren't on the best of terms because his son wanted to be in the streets. And he didn't want him for that. He didn't understand it. He didn't get it. He didn't want him to do it. So they were bumping heads. He also said that when his son was killed, it was because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He pulled up on a block where this block is beefing with that block. He out there 5 minutes. If you're from the city, you know that when the news report rolled, his car was still running. His Benz was still out there running or whatever have you. And he got caught in the middle of it and died. Mm-hmm. Right after he talks about that, a little bit after that, Shannon says, well, I read this thing about this kid in Philly that was a basketball star, that was a 4.0 student, that was 17 years old, that got shot in front of his mom. And Gillie sits there and lets him introduce the whole thing. Because I know a lot of y'all saw the clips and y'all don't understand the succession of the conversation, right? And he says the whole thing and he says, well, Gillie, you know where we come from, we come up. That's a star. That guy, when they talk about the block, they gonna talk about him. They like, we good. He a star. He gonna make it. Usually, it's a hands-off policy. You don't bother that guy. That guy's usually protected. And Gillie said, that's the kid that shot my son. And for some reason, Shannon be a little slow in these moments sometimes. He didn't even understand it initially. Like, it wasn't tabulating for him. That Gillie just told you about this same kid and then you read the bio backwards to him. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's like, That's the kid, the one that got shot 17 times with his mom, right? Yeah. And then he explains the whole Joker angle. And this kid, I said, he got videos, guns, and da-da-da-da. And when he got killed, the police told me that was the kid that was one of the ones that's about to get arrested for the murder of my son. As somebody that remembers that night very vividly when we found out about what happened to Cheese, watched Gillie, Wallow, a large percentage of the Philly rap community try to surround Gil, and Freeway and O and all of them was going through stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it was a lot. And watching Gil's face in those moments, the fact that he's been able to continue to build what he's built with his cousin Wallow and fight for other people's children and keep a smile on people's faces while keeping a smile on his face and empowering people and inspiring people. It's like, when I think back on that moment, like, Gil's really a superhero to be able to sit in front of Shannon, had this conversation, but let Shannon build up the kid that he just said killed his son.
Right. And
not respond till Shannon get his shit off. And then when he responded, it was level-headed.
Yep.
You know, there was some energy there, but it wasn't like, nigga, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. You gotta respect it so much. It really shows the dysfunction in our city. That some of our most intelligent, he had the highest SAT score in his high school.
Yes.
He was a star athlete.
Yep.
He had a whole Joker alter ego and was essentially a serial something or other, right?
Yep.
And that is the dysfunction in our city, and that is the misdirection of our youth, especially our young black men that don't know how powerful what they already have is. They still want to play the other games and feel like they got to be a part of everything. And that's what I used to talk about years ago, when everything in the streets used to be separated. Everybody had a role, and certain people didn't deal with certain people because they knew their role in the streets. Now, one person wants to be all four roles, and it gets confusing. And it starts when you're 13, 14, 15 years old, because this was 2 years ago that we lost Cheese.
Yep.
It's devastating, yo.
Yep.
But prayers and good energy to Gil, even to this young man's family, because hopefully, I'm hoping, because the city is strange, that they didn't know. And they lost somebody, too, that they thought had a lot of promise. And they have to live through this and through the slander and through the backlash and all of that. So good energy to everybody involved. Is very, 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 very strange. But if you from anywhere like where I'm from, it's more normal than not. And it is it's devastating. Because these same kids go into whatever lockup they wind up in, and they don't have those tools of the trade with them, and they're completely different people. And that spans the gambit. So it's scary, y'all.
Yep.
It's scary.
All right. Shout out to Hey Geek. They said hi, peeps.
Yo, peeps.
All
we
right.
peeps now.
We peeps.
Easter candy.
Absolutely. Let's get into something a little brighter for the city.
But yeah.
Let's talk about the Roots Picnic.
I want you to run it down for the people so I can get my spirits back up.
All right, so the Roots Picnic is an annual event here in Philly. It's probably it's the biggest music festival that happens here every year. And it's also just one of the biggest and best legacies that the city has been doing in recent years. So they just announced their lineup for this year, and it is legendary. So as you can see from the poster, they have D'Angelo with the Roots, Meek Mill Lenny Kravitz, Glorilla, Miguel, Thames, Lotto, and K-Trana.
Oh my goodness.
Then you have Black Thought, Pusha T, and 2 Chainz
What?
doing a live mixtape. Jeezy, Adam Blackstone with Jagged Edge, Music Soul Child,
Ooh.
The Roots, of course.
Yep.
And then I'm not going to read all of the bottom names, but it is legendary. If you live in Philly, you know a lot of these folks. So Lay Banks, Kerr, you have Snack Time, Diamond Cuts, Funk Flex.
Any friends of the show? It's a long list, I know.
It is. No one's jumping
Nobody's jumping out. It's cool. We're going to see
Sorry
something on
if
the
I
gram.
missed you.
No, you good. We'll see it on the gram tomorrow.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, this is just a dope list. You got Rich Medina and Cosmo Baker, some of the 2 legendary Philly DJs. You have DJ Active is on here.
Nice.
You got, yeah. I said most of the ones that
No, I mean, no,
we
listen,
fuck with,
festival,
for sure.
Festival flyers are a headache, so get through what you can get through.
Yeah, overall, this lineup is just dope. Very excited. I hope that they stream it and that there's a pay-per-view because I don't want to go in person.
Why not?
As somebody who used to plan festivals, I just feel like my days of going to festivals are over. There's nothing about being in a crowd and having to use porta potties all day long for like 6 hours that excites me. And I would much rather just be on my couch smoking while watching. That's just me.
I hear you. I just wanted to know why.
Yeah. That's just me.
I think it's a hell of a lineup, though. I'm going to do that, though.
It's definitely crazy.
I'm going to do that, though.
It is definitely crazy.
That mixtape part?
That's going to be lit.
Man.
That is going to be lit.
That's one of the ones where I want to be the camera in the middle that's like, why they all rapping? What, like, if they were to be in a circle or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
I would be uncomfortable for that moment. You know me, I'm not one of them. But for that moment, I would be the guy, like, gotta get it right, buddy.
Yeah.
Nah, salute. I'm excited for everybody involved. And I do know that whether they're on a flyer or not, because I can't really see the small print from where I'm at, which is cool. In a lot of ways, a lot of people that I know and care about are going to benefit from this event, as always when this event pops up. So do y'all thing, get y'all money, get home safe, and dress for all weather expectations, because Philly is crazy around that time of year.
Yep.
It's crazy.
That part.
Yeah, like we get rain.
So, speaking of big concerts,
Let's do it.
we talked last week about how Big Meech was kind of beefing or feuding, I would say, with 50 Cent. Well, just last week, it later became announced that Big Meech's Welcome Back Legacy concert was canceled.
The day of.
The day of the event. So this concert had a killer lineup that included Lil Baby, Rick Ross. Side note there. 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Kodak Black, 42 Doug, SG, Moneybag Yo, T Grizzly.
ESTG.
Yeah, ESTG. Taby, Easy, a whole bunch of folks. Boosie, a whole bunch of folks are on here. So it's interesting that this was canceled on the day of. And there really wasn't an explanation really given as to why it was canceled. To date, I have not seen one. Have you?
I've only heard rumors. I'm hearing rumors of low ticket sales, and I'm hearing rumors of certain headliners such as Lil Baby, pulling out because you know what they will and won't be affiliated with.
Right.
And I'm hearing that it's quite possible that a lot of teams made a decision that to stand next to certain things with your brand, you may not be able to recover from, and this might be one of them. So it's like, because not only is this something that, like, all right, the culture has a reverence for Big Meech, and most people don't even really know what's going on and what's true and what's false, right? But if XYZ falls to be true, and you're somebody that stood on your platforms and on your forums and against other celebrities and said certain things, i.e. a Boosie or a Baby or certain other people on his list, right? It could look really weird for you being a part of this. And I also think that the negative publicity, like when you got a 50 Cent, I think it had an impact. I think that the low ticket sales is quite possible. Especially because this is slated to be a blowout event. You're talking about a massive venue and a lot of people that got to get paid. But the fact that it happened the day of started making me think about how this insurance works for these events. Because that's crazy.
Yeah.
The day of? Canceled? I don't know how that works. So, what do you think?
So, me personally, I didn't find out about this concert until after it was canceled.
I knew ahead of time.
Okay.
I knew ahead of time. It was a whole thing. It was a back and forth thing. It was part of the kerfuffle between 50 talking about he's going to cancel the show. Because part of it was the video of Meech standing next to Rick Ross announcing that he's going to be a part of Rick Ross' car show and that Rick Ross is going to be a part of his concert. And that made 50 start all of the back and forth with the whole, you know what I mean? The show was canceled. You motherfuckers fucked up $5 million legal dollars, and now y'all gonna be broke and all of that type of shit. And then Lil Meech getting involved and all of that. Which actually started before that when Southwest T stood next to Supreme's son. So this has been an ongoing thing to show that the elders in the BMF family don't really appreciate 50. So I think 50 retaliated a way that he knew would work. But this gets to be a little sketchy.
Yeah.
We start talking a weird line in music, entertainment, and hip-hop when we start trying to affect black men's business. And you see how many people is listed on that chart, right?
A lot.
Those are the entertainment. How many people is supposed to work the venue, the parking lot, sell T-shirts, whatever, vendors, anything, right? And this got canceled the day of. How many people adjusted their life because they work in an industry such as that to be available that night? Right? With an expectation. Might have put something on a credit card to be prepared for that night. Didn't get to sell it. Or didn't get to make the money you would have made to pay that charge off. Right? We getting in very, very, very strange waters where this is not like racism. Black men can be culture vultures too. You have to be careful how hard you step on somebody's throat. And I want to read the comments.
So, Hustle or Drown TV said, this
you
street...
are chewing in the mic.
Hustle or Drown TV said, this street now, laughing face.
Wow. That's crazy. No, I ain't say nothing? Alright, yeah. It's getting into a weird place. And it's like, I think that when the BMF thing first started, I had a thought of when the energy of the culture or politics or whatever is acceptable changes. 50 has been somebody that has been able to act however he wants, but is there a limit now that there wasn't before when it comes to what he can affect and not really get backlash for? Now, him being invincible to it or like not needing others to be able to make money is a thing. But as far as people going along with it and not saying like, yo, well, that's corny. I think he's getting very close to thin ice. Just based on new societal norms. And that affects the internet too, and social media, which is where all of the responses come from. So I thought about that, and I seen somebody else say something to that point, and I was just thinking about that shit. I'm trying to remember who that was and what their point was when they said it. But no, I think that we're getting very close to a point where people will look at stuff like this and be like, 50, you just built a movie studio and you pulled a move that affects a lot more people than just the person that you mad at. And how long are we going to do that? Where we could also date back when New York stopped having the momentum in hip hop was when 50 Cent divided the city. So that's all I'm saying. Ruger rant.
Noah just said 50 was out of pocket.
See what I'm saying? People not seeing it the same as like, even now, like his baby mom that was on the sex tape is on reality TV, and people are getting to know her and to see how she was affected by that. Mm-hmm. Rick Ross' baby mom, I'm talking about, by the 50 putting her in the middle of that, right? Mm-hmm. So even that is going to be looked at different. Where back then we looked at her like, yo, she's such a fucking slut. Like, why is his baby mom doing this? Now it's like, no, this is a woman whose whole life was affected by something that somebody did that's illegal.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, so he got to be careful.
Jay-Z
lawsuit. So yeah, the lawyer, forget homie name, I've been drinking, that put out the lawsuit that tried to tie Puff and Jay-Z together, and something that happened with the minor and all of that. You know, I don't even want to rehash it. He's dropped the lawsuit. It was foundless. It's never to be revisited. But soon thereafter, Jay-Z has countersued. And he has claimed, you know, everything that you plan somebody at his stature to claim, in light of somebody putting something like that in the public about their name. So he's talking about damages as far as how he was affected, so forth and so on, and he might actually win his lawsuit. And I bet you he don't drop it. Now, this stands to have a thing where, like, it puts you in a mindset where we're in a society where when every billionaire, millionaire, or person with power is succumbing to their bad deeds in their past, sometimes we kind of bunch them all together. And we say, uh-oh, they got Hove too. Now, not me, because, you know, that's my guy. But people were doing that. But everything that Jay-Z legally and publicly has done in reaction to any lawsuit you've ever seen him involved in, and I'll take you back to and he later rapped about that situation after the case closed. I just flipped an onion. Anyway, he a little different. So, I think that I want to do this for the fact that the lawsuit was dropped, because I hate to see him pulled into anything and sized up next to something Diddy doing. Allegedly. But one thing for sure, two things for certain, there's too many stories around Diddy to try to muddy somebody that has dealings with the NFL. And shout out to the NFL for standing beside him and publicly saying that it was unfounded. And until something is founded or found, they gonna rock out and continue their business with them, and that led to them getting the highest ratings they got for a Super Bowl or a halftime show by Kendrick Lamar this year, which is the most debated Super Bowl this year, but y'all all watched it. So, what do you think about the fact that the lawsuit was dropped, which seemed crazy in the first place? We didn't understand why it even involved Jay-Z, because his name popped up after he had a reaction that the lawyer didn't like, and he wasn't even named before that. And now he's countersuing for defamation and a bunch of other stuff. What do you think?
I think that's exactly how it should go. I think that when the lawsuit came up, we all had a pretty good feeling that it was unfounded. And now that we realize that I'm glad it was dropped because nobody wants to argue an unfounded case in the court of law. And Jay-Z should absolutely countersue because he might have lost potential earnings based off of this unfounded lawsuit. So, yes. I also want to just get through these comments before I hand it back over to you.
No, please do your thing.
Hustlers Round TV talking about 50 Cent said he does follow 48 laws of power, and I believe the law 15 is crush your enemies totally. So that explains why 50 Cent is how he is.
I'm going to tell you something about them laws of power, right? They were made for business, which means that they were made to turn weenies into emperors. Everybody doesn't have to operate fully off of those laws. If you need those laws completely to operate, then you didn't have it in you from the gate. That's to build up a weenie to a sorcerer. If you already have superpowers, some of that stuff you don't have to do. But one of the laws says don't overshoot your target, which means once you've won, don't overwin. That can be your loss. And I don't disagree with you. I just want to, you know what I mean? Tell me how you feel about that part. Because that's what's happening in a lot of instances. And the weird part is that's what they're accusing Kendrick of. But the Drake balance to it doesn't allow for that to be fair. So, I mean, it's prominent around us if you pay attention to what's going on right now. Don't overshoot your target. Once you've won, win and move on.
So he also said that he won talking about Jay-Z. Now moving on to the other chat.
Hove always wins. My motto is I will not lose.
Noah said or asked, was Jay-Z right to buy Beyonce a Grammy?
I don't think you can buy a Grammy. I think that you can put pressure on certain entities and situations. And if you know anything about what's been happening lately with the Grammys, they've changed a lot of things. That's why when you watch the Grammys, they keep talking about how many people are voting and how diverse the voting has gotten. One thing that has also changed is if you're voting for Grammy nominations or whatever considerations, you no longer have to vote on so many categories for it to count. Now you're only responsible for a certain amount of genres or categories, which makes it more fair because you're allowed to only speak to what you know about or care about, as opposed to having to check off something in the rap category because you've heard that song before at somebody's bar mitzvah. So it changes things. There's a lot of things they're doing to make it more fair. That's why it looked different this year. And you don't have to take my word for it, but my word is based on the fact that I deal with people that are on the Philadelphia Grammy Committee.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's move on to our last topic of the night. Unrivaled. So this last week was the Unrivaled one-on-one tournament. And Nafisa Collier ended up taking home the win.
Yeah, fees.
But the tournament itself was, in my opinion, very fun to watch. I had a great time. But it was also a little controversial. So some of the players felt that the refs were not fair. Some of the players felt like the guards shouldn't be forced to play against the bigs. Because there were so many injuries going into the tournament, some players got buys, and because they condensed rounds to all be on one day, some players had to play 2 games and then had to play against a fresh player who had just had a bye. So there were a lot of little things that folks were harping on. But we got to remember this is Unrivaled's first year. This is the first time they're doing a 1v1 tournament. And the only reason that they were harping this hard on things, particularly the players, is because there were real stakes on the line. Nafisa ended up taking home $200K as a prize pot. And additionally, her teammates also got to share in the winnings. Everyone who ended up making it to the semifinals, I believe, did take home some cash. So shout out to all of them. But with such high stakes on the line for these women, you can understand why they wanted them to get everything right. So I do hope that they continue this for next year. I do think that this is a very promising event, and I really enjoyed watching it overall. I do think there are little things that could be tweaked, particularly the bracket needs to account for injuries in a different type of way, or maybe get set later so that there's more flexibility to change it right until the week of. Maybe have a little bit more of a break between when the last season game is and when the tournament starts. But either way, I hope that they continue this. Again, shout out to Nafisa for taking home the win. What did you think about the one-on-one tournament from what you saw?
I had a great time. I was actually upset about the games that I missed because, like, there was some good ones that I missed, and then I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, that was crazy. But I think that we're missing something as far as you.
What?
This is something that you could speak more to as a professional and even in your personal life as far as trying to innovate, expand, try new things, build on something that's already set and make it bigger. Like trial and error.
Yeah.
Part of it. Like, I want to hear your opinion on, like, because you spoke to the things. You said that there was the injuries, there was the matchup problems, there was the maybe not giving enough time up until the event so that we have time to see who's really healthy and available to, do what. But as far as that is concerned, you also understand the point of view of, well, that's part of the growing pains.
Of course.
So I wanted you to speak to that part of it, if that makes sense to you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like I already did.
No, because you've expanded things in a way when people were thinking about canceling shit, right?
Yeah. So,
like, just watching the backlash that certain things get, how do you feel about the fact that, like these are the things that come with it?
I think as an organizer,
right,
backlash, you have to take it with a grain of salt, but it's also the way that it's the most effective way that we hear feedback.
Right. Right.
At the end of the day, you don't necessarily hear a lot of thank yous or a lot of, hey, things are doing great, we really enjoyed this. You might get one or two of those, but the backlash hits louder.
Right.
And as an organizer, that can be difficult, just to separate your personal sacrifice, because it's a lot that goes into planning a league, planning a tournament, doing anything big like this, any big project. It takes a lot out of you personally, even though it's a professional endeavor.
And time away from your personal.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So it's tough to not take that backlash personally, but once you can sit with it for a while and get past that point, critique does become your best friend, because you can take from it what serves you and leave what doesn't. So do I think that the smalls need to play against the bigs? Yes, it's a one-on-one tournament. We shouldn't have separate brackets for guards versus centers. That's ridiculous. I don't think that criticism is valuable. I'm going to take what I think serves me and leave that one there.
And that criticism came from some of the players.
Yes, that came from the players directly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's what I mean. Like, yes, criticism is valuable. I think it's also interesting in this sense because the players who are criticizing the league are also equity stake in the league.
I didn't realize that.
And
I knew that, but you putting it together, now I get what you're saying.
And I think that for some of these women, this might be a learning opportunity. It's never good to bite the hand that feeds you, ever, in any sort of employment sense. And when you're an athlete, that can be difficult because, you're put in really stressful situations and you might be moved across the country at the drop of a hat.
Yep.
So it's difficult to separate your personal feelings about what's going on or what's happening versus the allegiance that you need to have to your employer at that point.
How about the fact that we're expecting athletes to be business people? And what you're talking about is business. When you talk about moving somebody from one side of the country to another one at the drop of a hat, that's business.
Yeah.
And people don't understand business. And you could take it from entertainers to athletes. When you're on a major stage, a lot of the times you build families on the fly.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's business. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's part of the part that, like, you kind of alluded to it, but, like, that's the thing. You're expecting, oh, now I have more leverage, but you still don't understand business.
Yeah.
So your control is not there.
And I think also the criticism that Feast has been getting, being one of the creators of the league, and then also winning this tournament.
Yeah.
I feel like that criticism needs to stop. Feast has time and time again in this league shown you night after night that she is head over heels the best player in the Unrivaled League.
Before she even got there, she was acting crazy.
Period. So put some respect on her. Just because she's good and she's winning does not mean that she is rigging these tournaments or that the refs are favoring her.
Stewie
or anything like that.
Stewie is one of the biggest upsides that we thought the league had, and she hasn't played good consistently yet in the league, and she's an owner.
Facts. She's
an owner, so that negates all of that right there.
Facts.
If you look at Stewie, then you can't say that it's rigged.
Right.
Unless Nafisa has more power than Stewie somehow, and we just missing something.
So, the one other thing that I did want to say when talking about the 1v1 results is a lot of the final, like, quarterfinalists were not the names that you expected. We saw a lot of awesome young talent make it through to the quarterfinals. I'm talking about, like, Ray Burrell or Aaliyah Edwards, who ended up battling in the finals.
Yeah.
Of course, there were, your favorites like Arike and Satu and those folks, but...
Because Arike is the number one one-on-one player in the WNBA.
Absolutely.
Oh, my bad.
But it was just dope to see some of these other names that you don't always think to say, who are actually on the rise and killing the game. It's nice to see them get some shine too. So shout out to all the women who competed. Again, I thought that this tournament was great. I enjoyed watching it all of last week. It was probably the highlight of my week because, like I said, the NBA Allstar Weekend was kind of terrible.
We also caught a little glimpse of a live stream of the 2-on-2 that they had, right?
Oh, yeah, the 2-on-2 that they had as part of Allstar Weekend.
Yeah, shout out to Asia, yo.
Best commentary ever.
Yo, y'all gotta give Asia a mic every time he show up. Like how y'all do me when I be there to chill and hang out, and y'all give me like y'all gotta do that to Asia Wilson, yo. She is hilarious, Kay.
Oh my god, she was so funny.
She was so entertaining. She tried to interview somebody on a foul line. It was Arike, right?
No, I think it was Chelsea. No, it was Jewel Lloyd.
It was Jewel Lloyd. She tried to interview her on the foul line, and she had to tell her, like, I'm trying to shoot the foul shot. She's like, oh.
I'm shooting a foul shot, yo.
Yo, she was hilarious the whole time, yo. Her personality is 1,000. So shout out to that event. I actually think I saw where I could rewatch it now because it went private, and I didn't watch it from the beginning. Perfect. Yeah, so I'm going to tap into that, but these young ladies have a lot of personality, a lot of appeal, and a lot of skill. And I think that for the last 2 years, I've enjoyed in real time watching these things grow. And now we're worried about sustainability, right? But I'm also watching the young ladies that, my homegirl from Rutgers just had 50-something. You know what I'm saying? She a freshman. Juju, acting crazy. Dawn Staley, still creating monsters. The backup monsters to sit on the bench behind it's a lot of positivity that's going to come to women's basketball for a long time. But the Unrivaled League has been fun, and that tournament was fun. And Asia, you killed that. As somebody that has to host things and keep the crowd entertained on the fly, you never forgot that we was listening. You made sure we had something to laugh at every 30 seconds. You was on some Kevin Hart. So salute to you, Asia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but anything else you wanted to add to that? Or we got another topic, or we good?
No, I just want to tell the people that if you're tuning in on TikTok or Twitch, make sure that you head over to our YouTube, search SippinWitSammie, find us there, hit subscribe. That is where we drop the majority of our content. We do have plenty of new stuff dropping this week, so make sure that you tune in. We have some shorts dropping from our conversation with, oh God, where am I at now?
Asia Sparks?
No. Some shorts dropping from our conversation with San Diego.
Oh, my brother.
Yes.
That's my little brother.
Yes. So make
Shout
sure
out.
that you tune in for those. And as always, we drop stuff at, noon, 4, anytime around there, anytime it's appropriate to start drinking. So make sure you tune in.
One thing I want to tell y'all, because I don't know if y'all see it week to week, but our schedules are changing drastically. So we don't know if we're going to do the same time, whatever have you, but we're going to tap in as much as possible. We're learning a lot. We're growing a lot. We have some new ideas and some new things we want to implement. And part of the reason that our schedules is changing is because we get new budgets, baby. But to keep it all real with y'all, I'm going to do as many Mondays as we can, but if it's a Saturday, if it's a Thursday, if it's a Friday, if it's a day that ends in Y and it's a time around happy you can see I and us and we. And we're going to keep bringing people through. We got a long list of people that's just waiting on us to settle into our schedules. And they'll be through here, and we're going to have a good time with them. And shout out to everybody that's led us to this point. We've had a great time, man, and we're just going to keep giving y'all great content and good feedback, and hopefully y'all appreciate that. But one thing's for sure, two things for certain. Sammie going to sip, and if you willing to sip, you could be a part of my bip. And we out of here. On that note, K, you good?
Yep.
Then we out. This is Sippin' with Sammie. I am Mr. Fly Shit, only the one and only Sippin' with Sammie. Sam Malone, Barstool Rug. If you ain't sippin' with Sammie, you ain't sippin' right. Please get your fucking life together.
Damn, Sammy, you done fucked up.
Yeah, boy.
Fucking yuppie transplants. Move the fuck